Well, I really don't feel I need to defend myself. I can lick this guy with one hand, so,
Marlon Brando, the legendary, unpredictable Hollywood icon, was never one to hold back his thoughts. Known for his explosive honesty and unparalleled talent, he had a way of shocking the world both on and off screen. But one revelation shared shortly before his death left fans and Hollywood insiders reeling. It involved none other than Paul Newman, the charismatic star whose charm and talent had defined an era. For years, rumors and speculations swirled about the relationship between Brando and Newman. Were they friends, rivals, or something far more complicated behind the cameras? While both men had collaborated and crossed paths multiple times in Hollywood's golden era, their interactions were largely private, until now. Brando, in his final moments of openness, decided to speak candidly, revealing truths that were as fascinating as they were shocking. According to Brando, Newman was not just a colleague, but a figure who inspired both admiration and intense personal reflection. Brando's words paint a picture of a man he respected deeply, yet one who provoked feelings of jealousy, rivalry, and complex emotions that even the public could not see. It's a side of Hollywood rarely revealed, the quiet tensions and unspoken battles between two of the greatest actors of their generation. Fans have long idolized Newman for his charm, talent, and philanthropic legacy, while Brando's life was defined by brilliance, controversy, and rebellion. This final confession adds a human layer to their legendary personas, showing that even icons wrestle with envy, admiration, and the complicated bonds of friendship. As Brando's words circulate, Hollywood enthusiasts and historians alike are left reconsidering what they thought they knew about these two titans of film. It's more than a story of friendship or rivalry. It's a glimpse into the emotional world of men who changed cinema forever, revealing the vulnerabilities, respect, and complicated emotions hidden behind the fame. Marlon Brando finally broke the silence, leaving the world stunned. And for anyone who grew up watching Paul Newman light up the screen, Brando's revelations cast a whole new shadow on a legendary friendship that was anything but simple. Marlon Brando was a man who defined Hollywood on his own terms, a genius actor, an enigmatic personality, and a rebel in a world that demanded conformity. He lived a life full of contradictions. To the public, Brando was larger than life, charismatic, unpredictable, and endlessly fascinating. Behind the cameras, however, he was a man who observed the world carefully, quietly weighing people, actions, and intentions. And for decades, there was one name that lingered in the corners of his mind more than any other: Paul Newman. Newman, of course, was the opposite kind of icon in some ways. Polished, charming, effortlessly talented, and beloved by millions, he represented a different facet of Hollywood stardom. Where Brando was raw, untamed, and often controversial, Newman seemed to glide through life with ease, balancing fame, success, and philanthropy in a way that few could match. And yet, despite their differences, the two men's paths crossed repeatedly in the film world, creating a complex mix of admiration, rivalry, and unspoken tension. For years, insiders speculated about Brando's thoughts on Newman. Some assumed mutual respect. Others whispered about envy. But the truth remained hidden, until Brando, in the final years of his life, chose to speak openly. In interviews and private conversations recorded shortly before his passing, he finally shared what he had thought about Newman for decades. His words were candid, raw, and at times surprising. Brando admitted that Newman was a man he both admired and envied. He respected Newman's effortless charisma, the way audiences connected with him, and the ease with which Newman navigated fame without losing his personal integrity. Yet at the same time, Brando confessed to moments of self-reflection spurred by Newman's presence, moments in which he compared himself, questioned his own choices, and recognized the different paths their lives had taken. Brando's honesty revealed a deeply human side, a man who, despite his own legendary talent, struggled with the universal emotion of comparison. In these revelations, Brando also touched on the rare moments they shared privately. While their interactions were not frequent, each encounter left a mark on him. Newman, he said, could be disarmingly charming yet quietly intimidating, a man whose abilities forced Brando to confront his own insecurities and pride. And though there was no bitterness in Brando's recounting, there was an unmistakable awe, an acknowledgement that Newman had qualities even a man of Brando's caliber could not ignore. The Hollywood world, with its gossip and intrigue, had long painted their relationship in black and white terms, rivals or friends, admiration or resentment. Brando's final words complicated that narrative, revealing that real-life relationships among legends are rarely simple. They are messy, full of contradictions, and shaped by both public perception and private emotion. As news of Brando's confession circulated, it prompted fans and historians to reconsider the dynamics of Hollywood's golden age. Behind the glitz, the cameras, and the accolades were two men navigating fame, friendship, and the quiet insecurities that accompany greatness. Brando's willingness to finally speak about Newman was more than a revelation. It was a reminder that even the most iconic figures carry unspoken thoughts, private comparisons, and deeply human emotions. By opening up about Newman, Brando gave the world a rare glimpse into his inner life, a life defined not just by talent and controversy, but by reflection, admiration, and the complex truth that exist behind fame. For those who had admired both men from afar, Brando's words offered a new lens, one that allowed fans to see not only the actors but the humans behind the legends. Marlon Brando's life was never one of simplicity, and neither was his relationship with Paul Newman. To the public, both men represented two distinct visions of Hollywood greatness. Brando, raw and unpredictable, a force of nature both on and off screen. Newman, polished, effortlessly charismatic, and universally admired. But behind the cameras, the relationship was far more nuanced, blending admiration, subtle rivalry, and a quiet, unspoken respect. In the interviews recorded shortly before his death, Brando described Newman in ways few would have expected. He spoke of the actor's ability to command attention without ever seeming to try, of the quiet confidence that made Newman magnetic to audiences and colleagues alike. "He just moves differently," Brando said. "Everything feels natural for him, effortless. And you can't help but notice it, even if you don't want to." Yet along with admiration came complexity. Brando admitted that he often compared himself to Newman, not with malice, but with the curiosity and self-examination that comes from knowing someone of similar skill and talent. He reflected on how Newman seemed to navigate fame without the same internal struggle that Brando experienced, inspiring feelings both of awe and envy. These emotions were subtle, layered, and deeply human, a reminder that even legends wrestle with the age-old tension between admiration and self-doubt. Brando also recounted moments of private interaction with Newman, moments rarely witnessed by anyone else. On film sets or during Hollywood events, they exchanged words and shared conversations that left lasting impressions. Brando recalled how Newman's dedication to his craft, combined with his calm, measured presence, challenged him to reflect on his own choices and methods. He admitted that seeing Newman perform, or even just observing the way he carried himself, forced Brando to confront parts of himself he had long tried to ignore: insecurities, pride, and the desire to leave an enduring mark on cinema. Yet despite the subtle rivalry, Brando's words were far from resentful. There was an unmistakable warmth in his reflection, a recognition that Newman's talents did not diminish his own, but instead illuminated the differences in their approaches and the diversity of genius in Hollywood. Brando's admiration for Newman was coupled with introspection, highlighting a side of him rarely seen, a man who could honor greatness in others while examining his own life honestly. The confession also shed light on the emotional pressures of their shared profession. Brando spoke of the loneliness inherent in being a public figure, the constant scrutiny, and the isolation that comes from carrying the weight of expectations. Seeing Newman navigate fame with a seemingly effortless grace made Brando both reflective and contemplative, revealing the private thoughts that accompanied his public persona. It was not jealousy born of bitterness, but the natural comparison that arises when two extraordinary talents coexist in the same era. Fans and historians have since noted that Brando's revelation challenges the simplistic narratives, often told about celebrity relationships. It wasn't just rivalry, nor pure friendship. It was something far more human. Two men, both brilliant, both complicated, navigating admiration, envy, and mutual respect in ways that only those who have experienced fame at that level could understand. Brando's words serve as a reminder that relationships among legends are rarely black and white. They are layered, nuanced, and shaped by private emotion as much as public perception. By speaking candidly about Newman, Brando offered a glimpse into the inner world of one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures. He showed that even those who seem larger than life wrestle with vulnerability, reflection, and admiration for others. And in doing so, he invited the world to reconsider not only his own legacy, but the intricate, human dynamics that exist behind the glamour of stardom. Marlon Brando's reflections on Paul Newman went far beyond surface-level admiration. In interviews conducted quietly toward the end of his life, Brando revealed specific behind-the-scenes stories and encounters that painted a fuller picture of their relationship. These were moments never shared publicly, experiences that shed light on both men's personalities, their work ethic, and the subtle tensions and camaraderie that existed between two Hollywood legends. One story Brando recounted involved a private rehearsal during a film. They both attended in the late 1960s. Newman, known for his effortless charm, arrived early, calm and focused, while Brando, famously intense and unpredictable, wrestled with lines, blocking, and emotional nuances. Brando remembered watching Newman approach the scene with a quiet confidence that made the craft seem almost second nature. "I watched him and I thought, how does he make it look so easy?" Brando admitted. "And then I realized, it's because he doesn't fight it. He just lets it be." That observation encapsulated the complicated mix of admiration and rivalry Brando often felt. While he respected Newman's talent, he also confronted his own insecurities, questions about his performance, his choices, and the weight of expectation. Brando's genius, after all, thrived on intensity and immersion, often leaving him emotionally drained. Newman's calm, composed approach served as a mirror, reflecting both what Brando envied and what he struggled to embody. Brando also shared anecdotes of Hollywood gatherings, where the two men's interactions were far more revealing than any public appearance. He described one dinner where Newman quietly observed the chaos around them, the endless networking, small talk, and pretense of the industry before offering a simple, thoughtful comment that cut through the noise. Brando confessed that he was struck by Newman's ability to navigate fame without losing authenticity, a quality he deeply respected and secretly longed to emulate. Yet, Brando's reflections were not just about admiration. He spoke candidly about moments of tension and competition. On set, both men were acutely aware of the other's talent, and subtle comparisons were inevitable. Brando's intensity sometimes clashed with Newman's composed demeanor, creating a dynamic that was both challenging and stimulating. But instead of resentment, Brando framed these encounters as lessons, opportunities to reflect on his own craft and to measure himself not against anyone else, but against the standard of excellence he constantly sought. Throughout his recollections, Brando emphasized one key point. His feelings toward Newman were never simple. They were a mixture of awe, introspection, subtle rivalry, and profound respect. Newman represented both a challenge and an inspiration, a reminder that greatness comes in many forms, and that true talent can coexist with humility and grace. Brando's honesty revealed a vulnerability that few had ever seen, a willingness to confront his own emotions and share the complex reality behind the public image. Historians and biographers have since noted that these stories change the way we understand Hollywood relationships. The public often assumes rivalry is straightforward, or that admiration is always easy. But Brando's words highlight the human complexity beneath fame. Two extraordinary men, navigating brilliance, competition, and mutual respect, each learning from the other in subtle, meaningful ways. By opening up about Newman, Brando provided a rare insight into the emotional world of a legend. He demonstrated that even those who appear larger than life wrestle with envy, self-reflection, and admiration. These behind-the-scenes glimpses remind the world that Hollywood's icons are human, capable of both extraordinary talent and ordinary vulnerability. And in the end, Brando's reflections ensured that the story of their relationship was not just about two actors, but about the shared humanity that binds even the most extraordinary lives together. As Marlon Brando approached the end of his life, his thoughts about Paul Newman became more reflective, candid, and profound. Brando, who had long been guarded with his emotions, seemed determined to share the truth about their relationship before it was too late. In these final reflections, he revealed a depth of understanding and admiration that went beyond rivalry or professional comparison. It was about recognizing the human qualities that defined Newman as both an actor and a person. Brando spoke about Newman's unwavering dedication to his craft, emphasizing that it was not talent alone that made him extraordinary, but the combination of discipline, humility, and authenticity. He had a way of connecting to the character without losing himself in the process, Brando said. It was something I admired more than I could ever express. These words came from a man whose own acting had redefined the industry. Yet even he recognized the unique brilliance Newman brought to every role. But Brando's reflections were not limited to admiration. He also acknowledged the subtle insecurities and internal comparisons that naturally arose between two men of such immense talent. Brando admitted that watching Newman's success sometimes made him reflect on his own choices, prompting moments of doubt and self-examination. Yet rather than fostering resentment, these feelings strengthened his self-awareness, inspiring him to embrace his own distinct path and artistry. It was a rare glimpse into the mind of a legend, revealing how even someone as accomplished as Brando could wrestle with emotions that are deeply human. In addition, Brando shared personal anecdotes that highlighted Newman's character off-screen. He spoke of Newman's quiet generosity, his unwavering kindness toward colleagues, and the humility that accompanied his fame. Brando contrasted this with his own more tumultuous journey, acknowledging the lessons he learned simply by observing Newman's example. These stories revealed not only professional respect, but a profound human connection, one built on understanding, admiration, and mutual recognition of the burdens and rewards of stardom. The public reaction to Brando's final words about Newman has been significant. Fans and historians alike now view their relationship as emblematic of Hollywood's hidden dynamics, where talent, admiration, rivalry, and human complexity intersect. Brando's candid reflections remind the world that even icons carry insecurities, face challenges, and navigate relationships in ways that are rarely visible to the outside eye. They also illuminate the power of empathy and recognition between peers, showing that greatness is not measured solely by fame or talent, but by the capacity to respect and learn from others. For Newman's legacy, Brando's words added a new layer of depth. They underscored the qualities that made him exceptional, his artistry, his humility, and the quiet influence he had on even the most formidable figures in the industry. Brando's acknowledgement became more than a personal confession. It served as an affirmation of Newman's enduring impact, both on the craft of acting and on those who shared the stage, screen, and professional life with him. By speaking openly before his death, Marlon Brando ensured that the story of their connection would be remembered as complex, human, and instructive. He did not diminish his own legacy. Rather, he enhanced it by demonstrating the courage to reflect honestly on another man's greatness and the vulnerabilities such reflection can evoke. It was a final act of transparency, offering the world insight into the emotional landscape of two of Hollywood's most celebrated figures. In the end, Brando's reflections teach a timeless lesson: admiration and rivalry, respect and envy, talent and humility. These elements coexist in the lives of even the most legendary individuals. Through his words, the public glimpses not only the bond between Brando and Newman, but also the universal human experiences that shaped them. Their story becomes a testament to the enduring complexity of friendship, respect, and shared artistry, leaving a legacy that resonates far beyond Hollywood and into the hearts of all who seek to understand greatness in its truest form.